Thanks for tuning in to this week's SoCal Multifamily Sales Pulse. The SoCal Multifamily Sales Pulse is a weekly blog post that reviews the past week's multifamily sales, stats, rents, absorption rate, and sale metrics for all 5 Southern California counties plus Long Beach. So make sure you're on my email list so you never miss the report. This week in what's happening in the market, multifamily lending to hit record $493 billion in 2022. See the chart below for the recent history of multifamily loans in 2021 and the forecast for 2022. There was an impressive 79% year-over-year jump in originations in the fourth quarter of 2021, completing what MBA estimates was a total volume of $900 billion for the year. 2022 is forecast to be even higher. Total mortgage borrowing and lending is expected to break $1 trillion for the first time, a 13% increase from 2021's estimated volume of $900 billion. Multifamily lending alone is forecast to raise to $493 billion in 2022, a new record and a 5% increase that surpasses last year's record of $470 billion. All right, the pulse of the market. Vacancy declined 30 basis points during 2021 to 3.4%, reaching its lowest figure in the market since early 2017. The rate held steady in the fourth quarter. Local asking rents are expected to continue to rise throughout the rest of 2022, although the pace of growth is expected to slow following recent spikes. Average rents in Orange County are forecast to increase 6% in 2022. Cap rates in Orange County remain low. Nearly every property that sold recently transacted with a cap rate below 3.5%. Multifamily investors in Southern California regained confidence in recent quarters after unprecedented rent growth and tightening vacancy rate. As the local economy continues to gain momentum and reaches a full recovery, Southern California will remain increasingly attractive and stable market for investors. Cap rates in the market are typically among the lowest in the country. With inflation rising, investors may look at adding to real estate portfolios as a natural hedge against rising costs. Multifamily sales activity spiked in the second half of 2021 as the market reached new highs for transaction volume. Prices pushed higher, reaching $384,700 per unit through the end of 2021. Okay, looking at Orange County stats, Orange County multifamily sales had a strong week of sales recently, with typical weeks of sales numbering around 15 or more. There were 17 closed sales last week. The closed sales average days on market was in the normal range at 36 days, and there were 7 transactions that sold at or above asking price. Of the 17 closed sales last week, there were 7 all-cash transactions last week. The monthly absorption rate declined further last month and is now down to just 1.27 months. And now looking at the monthly stats for Orange County, the average days to sell was up slightly to 39 days and has seen an increase over the last 2 months. The number of active listings continues to decline and is at an all-time low. The number of new listings has increased overall over the last 4 months. To show how strong the market is, even though the total number of active listings has decreased to its lowest level ever, the total number of sales increased. So even with low inventory, there are still quite a few transactions occurring. Looking at the inventory level for for Orange County, last week there were 10 new listings. This has been about the average for weekly new listings lately. There were 85 total active listings last week, and this is down from 91 total listings in the prior 2 weeks. The months of inventory went from 3 months previously to 2 months currently. And the active listings dollar volume dropped below 400 million, which is the lowest this stat has been in almost 4 years. All right, Long Beach Multifamily had 7 closed sales last week, and this stat has been bumping up and down between 4 to 8 closed sales per week for the last few weeks. So this is about average for closed sales for Long Beach. The closed sales average days on market was elevated at 54 days, and more than half, or 4 of the 7 closed sales last week, were transactions that sold at or above asking price. There was just one all-cash transaction last week. The monthly absorption rate decreased from 2 months previously to 1.79 months currently. And looking at the monthly charts for Long Beach, the days to sell average was up to 45 days. This is after being at the second lowest rate ever in the previous month. The number of active listings is now at the lowest point ever at just 120 listings. And the number of new listings kept in line with the previous 2 months with 45 new listings last month. The number of sales last month was up slightly and still about the same level it's been for the last 5 to 6 months. And the listing inventory in Long Beach, there were 8 new listings last week, and the stat has been between 4 to 10 new listings each week over the past few weeks. The months of inventory remained at 4 months. The total number of active listings was at 61 listings. This stat has seen a minimal increase over the last 4 weeks. Los Angeles County multifamily had a strong week in closed sales with 86 closed sales last week, and the closed sales average days on market was in the normal range at 39 days. There were 50 transactions that sold at or above the asking price. This indicates a strong demand from investors and a need to be aggressive with your offer if you're a buyer. The monthly absorption rate was down from 3.82 months previously to 3.17 months currently, more indications of a competitive market. LA County's monthly stats didn't see a lot of change from the previous month in most cases. The average days to sell stat was down to 54 days after hitting 58 days in the previous month. The number of active listings was almost unchanged, and the number of new listings was down slightly but still up from the last year and earlier in this year, or late last year and earlier this year. The one stat that saw the most change was the number of sales, and this number increased from 351 in February to 427 last month. Okay, let's take a look at the monthly inventory for Los Angeles County. There was an increase of 126 new listings last week. LA County has had strong weeks of new inventory over each of the last 4 weeks. And this brings the total number of active listings to 1,366. Even with a strong weekly increase in new listings, the total number of active listings hasn't moved much from week to week. And the months of inventory went from 14 months previously to 13 months currently. All right, let's take a look at San Diego County. San Diego County multifamily had 13 closed sales last week, and this is on the low end of the average for weekly closed sales for San Diego County. The closed sales average days on market remained low at just 22 days. And there were 7 of the 13 closed sales last week that were transactions that sold at or above asking price. There were only 4 all-cash transactions last week. The monthly absorption rate decreased from 1.74 months in the previous month to 1.48 months currently. The San Diego County monthly absorption rate is the second lowest rate in Southern California, trailing only Orange County. And for the monthly stats, the days to sell average was still extremely low at just 21 days. And the number of active listings was almost identical to the previous month. And the number of new listings increased sharply with 141 new listings last month. The monthly number of sales was still up, but still on the low end with 77 total sales last month. And looking at the listing inventory for San Diego County had a big increase of new listings last week with 31 new listings. The total number of active listings moved up to 113 total listings last week. This brings the total number of active listings back above 100 from the prior week when it dropped to 99 listings. The months of inventory dropped to 5 months. All right, looking at Riverside counties, Riverside County Multifamily had a good week for closed sales last week with 10 closed sales. The closed sales average days on market was about normal at 42 days. And 5 of the 10 closed sales last week were transactions that sold at or above asking price. And half of the closed sales were all cash transactions last week. The monthly absorption rate increased slightly from 1.86 months to 2 months. Previously was 1.86 months. It's currently 2 months. And Riverside County is the only county in Southern California that saw an increase in the monthly absorption rate last month. All right, looking at the monthly sales charts for Riverside County, the days to sell average stayed on the low side at just 36 days. The overall trend for this stat over the last 12 to 14 months has been downward. The number of active listings saw a decrease last month after seeing an increase in the previous month. And the number of new listings last month was down again after seeing a decrease in the previous month. And the number of sales was down moderately from the previous month. With just 33 total monthly sales, there's just not a lot of sales due to lack of inventory. And taking a look at the inventory stats for Riverside County, there were just 3 new listings last week. And the total number of active listings is down to just 66 listings. The months of inventory remained at 9 months, and the active listings dollar volume fell to its lowest point since August of 2020 at $307,441,479. All right, let's take a look at San Bernardino County. San Bernardino County had 12 closed sales last week. That is a good, strong week of sales activity for San Bernardino County. The closed sales average days on market was 30 days, and of the 12 closed sales last week, there were 9 transactions that sold at or above the asking price. The monthly absorption rate was down from 2.47 months previously to 2 months currently. And looking at San Bernardino County's monthly charts, the days to sell average was almost unchanged at 51 days. And the number of active listings was down again and now sits at the lowest point ever. Property owners in the Inland Empire are just not selling these days. More indications of this is reflected in the number of new listings, which was down from the previous month. And the number of sales was up slightly to 43 total sales, but still on the low end for that stat. And looking at San Bernardino County's listing inventory, there was 13 new listings last week, and this increases the total number of active listings from 79 listings in the prior week to 88 total listings last week. And the months of inventory went from 13 months in the previous week to 11 months last week. All right, that wraps up another week of the SoCal Multifamily Sales Pulse. You can look at all the charts and stats in detail in the full report on my website, MikeLembeck.com. And feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email with any questions on the market. And give me a call if you'd like an analysis done on your property to determine your equity position for a potential sale or exchange. And if you're concerned about the availability of an upleg property when doing a 1031 exchange, we have access to a lot of inventory using the Delaware Statutory Trust to help satisfy the need for an exchange. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mike's Multifamily Minutes, so you never miss a video. See you next week.